Hello, welcome to my channel and thanks for tuning into this video. Today I'm going over the new Chantecaille Spring 2021 collection. I have the Eye Quartet, the Butterfly Eye Quartet, and I have one of the Lip Chic shades in Peach Blossom. So if you'd like to see me apply these as well as do some comparisons with the Lip Chic with other lip products that I have in my collection, and I'm also going to do comparisons of this multi-chrome shade here with some other shadows that I have. If you'd like to see all of that, just keep on watching. Here's the little eyeshadow quartet. So it came in this box which has the matching image, and it also has this beautiful metallic kind of sage green that mirrors the metallic green that's on the packaging as well. When we open it up, we have these 4 shades here. And when I look at these in person, I'm pleasantly surprised by how distinct each of these shades is from one another. When I was looking at photos online, I thought that these 2 shades here looked rather similar, like one was just sort of a darker version of the other. But when you actually see them in person, this one has a little bit more of a pinky taupe to it, whereas this one is a bit more purpley, still a taupe as well, but different tones going on within those 2 colors. And then this one here is a beautiful, I thought at first it was a duochrome, but when I read the Chantecaille website, it describes this as a triochrome or a trichrome with 3 shifts. So it has the green, which I think is the predominant color, a gold shift, and then it goes to quite a strong peach shift as well. And this one here is a peach metallic. I think it leans a little bit more toward a satin than a metallic. It's quite a soft shine that comes from it, but certainly a shine that is still discernible. They describe these 2 here, those 2 as satin shades, I think, on the Chantecaille website, but to me, they look like and they perform more like mattes, really. I have used this once already. I used it yesterday, and I was very happy with the quality. Today, I want to do a more winged out shape in going with that sort of butterfly type theme. So let's just get right on into it. I wanted to read a little bit about this collection and the charity that it is supporting. So I believe it's actually the Lip Chics, that proceeds from the Lip Chics go toward the charity. That's what I was kind of gathering from the Chantecaille website, but the little pamphlet came in with the Eye Quartet, so I'm not quite sure about how that all works out, but I wanted to read this to you. Colorful butterflies are incredible travelers that help all ecosystems thrive. Together with bees and other pollinators, they sustain 85% of our natural flowering species and 1 in 3 bites of food on our plates. But these delicate creatures are highly sensitive to habitat loss, toxic pesticides, and climate change, and have been declining at alarming rates. They need access to pollinator-friendly gardens and landscapes to help them survive. We believe that protecting butterflies and other pollinators is a critical part of maintaining our Earth's balance. With our Butterfly Eye Quartet, we're raising awareness to conserve invertebrates and their habitats as we proudly support the Xerces Society. So the Xerces Society is the name of the wildlife foundation that proceeds from this collection are going to, and you can go to their website to read more about their initiatives. Starting out with this shade here, which is numbered as shade 1 in the palette, and I'm just patting out my concealer. I have the Kosas concealer on. They came out with new shades, so I got the new lightest shade of this concealer, and I'm really enjoying it and much preferring it to the previous lighter shade that I had of this concealer. I wore that all summer, but it was really, really yellow, and I really couldn't wear it in the winter. It just looked way too yellow. So I'm glad that they have the new shades, and I do find that my new shade, I think it's 0.5 in that concealer, is working a lot better for me. So just going with this, what they call a satin, what I find really performs as a matte. and just getting a basic little beginnings of a shape down. I think this is a very nice taupe shade. It's it's certainly not warm, but I don't find it too cool either. Although I think it does lean more toward a cool tone. But even that is nice just as kind of its own little defining shade on the eyes. If you wanted to just do a really light and simple look, you could stop right there. Going to take my mini booster into that darker satin shade here and focusing that on the outer corner and then just kind of pulling up the excess about halfway across the crease and kind of pulling out to give that little bit of a wing shape. So I was very excited when I saw pictures of this quad because I didn't buy either of the quads that they came out with last spring. They had the warm and the cool, and they were the hummingbird quartets, they call them, rather than quads. And I was very close at different points to buying either one of those, and I got very, very close to buying the warm one at a certain point. And I can't remember who it was that I saw on YouTube. That was what made me really, really want it, because she did such a beautiful eye look with it. But looking at it more closely, I thought that I had shades already in my collection that I could create that whole look with. I ended up kind of duping the look with shadows that I already had, and I think I was quite successful with it. And that was actually how I convinced myself not to purchase the quad. So if that sounds like something that might be interesting, like I could dupe these shades and create a look, maybe one on each eye, one using this palette and one using other shadows in my collection. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in seeing, let me know. That could be a kind of a fun little video to do. Okay, so there's our basic shape laid down. And now I'm going to go into this peachy shade and taking the Refer 21 brush for that. I find this brush is working really well for the more shimmery shades in this palette. This is what I used for them yesterday too. And I'm putting that peach down, and you can see that it looks quite a bit lighter on my eye, I think, than it does in the palette. And that could be partly because the undertones are sort of similar to my skin tone. So when that happens, those types of shades can sort of blend in to the skin. But I think it also just has to do with the formulation and the texture of the shadow. It does have a shine to it, so that's going to reflect a bit of light as well, which can make the shades look lighter. But I do think it's a really beautiful shade. And very easy to apply. I'm not having any issues with any of these shades in terms of the application and the pigment. So this is another point at which you could stop. I think that looks very nice with that sort of gradation of color going out. But I have to use the green sort of multi-chrome shade here. I just think it's the star of the show, really. And I'm going to put that focused more on, should I put it on the inner part or here? I think I'll put it on the inner part of the eye. And this shadow might not show up as strong on camera, but it is I was very surprised at how quickly this shadow builds up, and the pigment is apparent immediately when you apply this shade. And I will say these Shadows are a little bit powdery, so you can probably see a little bit of the kick up on the pan, but I haven't experienced fallout on my face from them at all. So that's really nice. Well, no one really likes dealing with fallout, but I do generally prefer to do my base makeup before my eyes. So if I can avoid having to clean up with concealer afterwards, that's great. Okay, so that's what we're working with now. I will be pulling that multi-chrome shade into the inner corner and along a little bit of the lower lash line, but I want to do the main part of the lower lash line before I do that. And I'm actually going to start with this peach. My instinct would be to go for that one, but let's change it up a little bit and see what this peach looks like on the lower lash line. Nice and soft. I'm using the flat definer for this. It's really great for under the eyes as well as for doing powder liner. It has a nice thin tip. I think that's nice to start out, and I'm going to deepen up the outer edge here, and I'm going to mix those two satin shades. And for just a little bit more definition, going into that darkest shade and kind of just pressing it right onto the roots of the lashes. On the outer, I would say the outer 2/3. All right, cleaning my brush off and back into the green, placing it on the inner corner and pulling it along the inner part of the lower lash line. All right, I'm going to do some liner and mascara, and then I will be right back. Okay, the eyes are all finished. I took my Victoria Beckham Cocoa liner and did the upper waterline. Then I took this darkest shade here and a tiny little pencil brush, which I put a little bit of Fix Plus on, and then I did just a little, really light little powder liner. And then I took this Marc Jacobs Peridot gel liner, and I put that on my lower waterline. So this I thought would be a really nice color to add into the look because it's not the same color as that sort of shimmery green that's in the palette, but it is the same exact color as the packaging here, and it's also about the same color or a similar color to the packaging on the lip Chic that I got. So that's going to bring me into the next part of this video. This is the lip Chic in the shade Peach Blossom, and it's very hard to see, but it does have a picture of a little butterfly there. And this is what the shade looks like. So this is the only one of the 3 lip Chics that came out with the collection that I got. I was of course tempted to get all of them, but I restrained myself and just got the one that I thought I would like the most. So let's put this on the lips. And that's what Peach Blossom looks like. So the feeling of this is very comfortable. It's kind of feels more like a balm than anything else. And it's a thicker formula than the lip veils that Chantecaille makes. and it's a bit more glossy than that formula as well. It feels very nourishing and moisturizing on the lips. And I like this color a lot because I think it's quite a wearable, everyday kind of peach tone. I wanted to do some comparisons with this Lip Chic and some of the other lip products that I have in my collection. So I'm gonna get started on that. So there's the Peach Blossom. And the first one I wanted to compare it to was this Chantecaille Lip Chic from last spring's Hummingbird collection. This is in the shade Coral Belle. All right, there's Peach Blossom, there's Coral Belle. So you can see that Coral Belle is much pinker than the peach, which is really more of a true peach and has more orange tones than the pinky coral of Coral Belle. The next one I wanted to compare is one of my Lisa Eldridge lipsticks. This is the Go Lightly lipstick, much sought after, and I think she's planning to bring this one back in the spring, but I'm not certain. So that's Go Lightly. And you can see, I think it is a bit more similar to the Peach Blossom than Coral Belle is, but it has much more vibrancy to it. It has a lot more white in its base. And so it almost looks sort of neon when you put it on the lips. So I find that I think Peach Blossom is a little bit more easily wearable, at least for me, but they do have similar types of tones going on. And then I wanted to also compare the Lisa Eldridge Go Lightly Gloss, because to me this is a little bit more of a toned down version of the Go Lightly lipstick. So I thought maybe it would be a bit more similar. So that's the gloss right there, and there's Peach Blossom. And to me, these are the two most similar from among these swatches. And I think that if you missed out on the Go Lightly gloss and you are really wanting that type of a color, you could be pretty happy with the Peach Blossom. But if you have the Go Lightly gloss, then you might not need the Peach Blossom, because I do think they are quite similar. They actually feel somewhat similar on the lips too. They're both very balmy and nourishing feeling. I had two other Chantecailles that I wanted to compare, which I don't think are really similar colors, but I wanted to show them anyway. This is another of the Lip Chics from last spring. That's in the shade Honeysuckle. So you can see it's much more mauve, a more neutral kind of tone than Peach Blossom. And the last Chantecaille one that I wanted to look at is the Lip Veil in Tiger Lily. And this is a much more vibrant, again, closer to sort of a neon type color. So that's Tiger Lily. And again, they do have sort of similar tones in that they have quite a bit of orange in them, but the effect is rather different when you look at those two compared. I had one other lip product that I wanted to throw into the mix, and this is the Victoria Beckham lipstick in the shade Pout. And I think this could be similar, we'll see. So there's the Victoria Beckham. Yeah, the Victoria Beckham Pout is pinker than Peach Blossom, which is still giving me more oranginess than the Victoria Beckham. To recap, that is Victoria Beckham Pout, that's Chantecaille Peach Blossom, that's Chantecaille Coral Belle, Lisa Eldridge Go Lightly Lipstick, Lisa Eldridge Go Lightly Lip Gloss, Chantecaille Honeysuckle Lip Chic, and Chantecaille Tiger Lily Lip Veil. I should mention too that the blush I have on today is the Fleur de Printemps Duo that came out recently. I thought these colors would go nicely with the peach tones in the eyeshadow as well as on the lips. I wanted to compare that multi-chrome eyeshadow to two other eyeshadows that I have in my collection, which I think are very similar. The first one that I thought of was the Pat McGrath one here in the Mothership 5. So let's check that one out. Okay, there's the Chantecaille, there's the Pat McGrath. They look very similar to me. They both have that lime green shift. I think the Chantecaille lime green is a touch more green, a little bit deeper perhaps. And the shift in the Chantecaille is more peachy, whereas the shift in the Pat McGrath is a little bit more pink, but they're quite similar. And then the one other one that I wanted to compare was in the Natasha Denona Gold palette, this one here, which is called Lime Chrome. Okay, there's the Natasha Denona. Again, very similar, and I think this one's actually even more similar to the Chantecaille than the Pat McGrath is. The flip to the peach is almost an identical peach tone in those ones, and I think that the Natasha Denona green is a little bit more yellow than the Chantecaille green, but they're very, very similar. So if you were really interested in this palette mainly for that shifting shade there, and you have either of those two palettes that I've just shown, you might not need to get this. But of course, if it really appeals to you, and if you love the packaging and the whole idea, and you love all of these shades together, I really don't think that you'd be disappointed in this palette. I find the quality to be very good, and I was actually pleasantly surprised with the pigment payoff that I got from these shades and the ease of use. It only has 2 grams of product, so that means each shadow is half a gram, so it's tiny, tiny. It's not good value in terms of the amount of product that you're getting, but if it's about the experience and the look of the whole palette, the packaging and all of that, and you just really like Chantecaille, or you want to try one of their eye quartets, I don't think you'd be disappointed with this if you like the look of the colors. The lip Chic is beautiful. I don't have anything bad to say about this. I think that the packaging is lovely. The other two have beautiful packaging as well. They're all sort of these bright pastel colors, which are very beautiful. And I like the shade. As I said, I think it's a nice wearable peach tone. So I think that's about it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, let me know below. And also if you would be interested in seeing a sort of side-by-side dupe video with this palette and shadows that I can find in my collection, just let me know. Thank you again so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.